All right, guys. As she said, my name is Josiah Martin. I'm the president of Crossbridge Marketing Media and Orville Printing. We have a booth down there in the show. I got to come in, kind of Johnny come lately. I've got a bunch of stuff I've got to take back off to right away. Would love to meet as many as I can, but we've got our team here. We're excited about being here and being a part of it. We're going to talk today about strategic marketing. Now, the time slot's a little bit bigger than what I had initially thought we had. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try not to put you to sleep. Sound good? All right? I'm going to try real hard not to bore you, not to put you to sleep. I want to see your business succeed. In an industry like ours, coming out of from an agency perspective, right? So you own a marketing and a media company. I only win and my company only wins when you win. So that's what we want. That's what we're in the business of doing. And strategic marketing will scale your business if you pull it off well. Done well, strategic marketing will scale your business. Now, that's not some big promise, and you don't need me to pull that off. You don't need my company to pull that off. If you as a business owner, as you as a member of your business and team do a good job with strategic marketing, you will grow your business. There's not a question about it. The question kind of comes in with how does that get pulled off? What does that look like? What even is marketing? We're going to get into all of those different things. I'm going to roll through the presentation. I'll go into as much depth as I've prepared to. At the end of that, I love kind of wheeling and dealing and doing things a little bit freelance. And so we'll do a question and answer at the end of that. And if you guys have something you want to hit me with, you have a question, I'll do my best to answer that. I bring in a pretty good bank of knowledge and experience within the roll forming and construction, specifically post-frame construction industry. Worked for a number of companies that are in that and that have grown very, very well throughout that process. So, strategic marketing, let's hit the first slide if we could. I'm clickerless today, so I'm not bossing Kevin around. I just don't have a clicker, all right? What is strategic marketing? That's probably difficult to read in the back there. It looks a little bit fuzzy from where I'm at, but I'll read through it. The difference between traditional marketing and strategic marketing is like the difference between having a few eggs and using those eggs to make an amazing omelet. The former is fine alone, but there's no comparison when they're used as a part of an overall plan that makes the best use possible of all of the ingredients. And so what we're talking about today, traditional marketing versus strategic marketing. Marketing is not a word that most business owners like to throw around. Can we just be honest about that? A lot of times when you hear advertising and marketing, you immediately grab for your wallet, right? You reach for the wallet and you're like, no, right? You're going to get all of the money drained out of your account. So you can feel sales pressure already creeping up. Most of us picture a sales guy that's there promising the world, delivering we're not really sure what. ROI is hard to track. Are we wasting money or not? And advertising and marketing can feel like a black hole where you just toss your wallet and all of the profits of your business, right? Traditional marketing would be difficult for most people to define. We're going to get into more of what this is, but strategic marketing in particular is you taking certain key aspects of your business and then plugging it into an overall plan that touches and envelops every aspect of your business, from product to customer service to what you offer, how you offer it, and who you offer it to. Strategic marketing is one thing rolled into a whole bunch of other things, and when done right and done well, it grows your business. So I would define marketing. Well, let me just ask. Somebody here want to give me a definition of advertising and marketing? We'll take marketing first. Anybody? Rough crowd.
Spending money to make money.
What?
Spending money to make money.
Spending money to make money? You do have to spend money to make money, is that right? Feels that way. How many of you guys have ever heard this one before? The best form of advertising is word of mouth, right? And here's the reality. Word of mouth will always be a part of your growth as your business. However, it won't scale you as fast as you want to scale in certain instances. And you have to do a great job all the way through the sales process, including at the end of the sales process, especially after they say yes. What happens from the time that they give you their money to the time that they are done with installation, done, walked away, walked out of the place? What happens in that time frame is going to be crucial for whether or not they tell friends about you, whether or not they pass the word on, and whether or not you have word of mouth. So marketing, spend money to make money. Anybody else want to wager, I guess, what's marketing? What is marketing? Okay, here's how I would define it. Marketing is the connection and the conversation that you have with current and prospective customers. That's it. It is the conversation and the connection that you have with current and potential customers. Moving with that thought in mind, let's talk a little bit more about the strategic marketing aspect of things. A deeper look at strategic marketing. Strategic marketing plan integrates selected, targeted marketing tactics with common goals. While marketing alone is often activity without purpose. Well, let me stop there for a second. If you don't know why you are running an ad in a newspaper, do not run the ad in the newspaper. Okay? If you don't know, and by the way, top of mind awareness, unless you're doing 150 million a year and you have saturated your market, there is no point in you doing TOMA. That's not a thing, right? If you are doing a shotgun marketing approach and you have tons of cash and you are like, man, I've got $100,000 and I have no idea what to do with it, go buy billboards everywhere. It's fine, dump your money there. If, however, you are trying to grow your business and scale your business, you want to put those dollars to work for you with a purpose. Know why you're doing what you're doing. If there's no purpose specifically, we're going to get into what that is, then don't spend the marketing. Marketing by itself is activity without purpose. That kills businesses. Okay? Strategic marketing, however, is selective, targeted tactics in the marketing realm that are coupled with goals. Okay, so that means that strategic marketing enables you to ensure that every one of your touch points or marketing efforts, that would be printed materials, advertising, billboards, newsletters, your website, direct mailers, and so on, align with your overall plan to connect the right information with the right audience, your ideal customer. Okay, so we'll walk through this again, but just let me put it to you this way. Your business has got a whole bunch of touch points. It's what we refer to them as. A touch point is anywhere that a potential customer comes into contact with your company. That could be advertising. They drive by and they see a billboard, right? And that billboard's got a message and it's got a color scheme, it's got a photo, and it's got information on it. That's a touch point. They've just interacted with your company. They've just interacted with an extension of who you are and what your company represents. Another touch point might be they're flipping through the newspaper or a magazine and they see an ad there, or they're scrolling through Google looking for your product or your service, and they come across your website and they've just clicked onto your website. They've just touched your business. Now, maybe they come into the store or they pick up the phone and they get somebody on the other end. That person, a representative of your business, has just had a touch point with your company. That's marketing. It's a connection, a conversation with current or potential customers. That's what marketing is. So they pick up the phone, that's a touch point. They walk in your showroom or into your house, or you come into their house, whatever the case may be, wherever that sales talk goes down, that's a connection, that's marketing. If it isn't done strategically, it's not going to pay off for you. So these touch points, if you're going to do strategic marketing well, then that has to play a big factor, all of those goals, into each and every touch point. You have to be intentional about it, which is where this last comes in. Marketing is the connection and conversation you have with current and prospective customers. Strategic marketing is doing it intentionally and doing it well. Here's the reality. Everybody in this room, you are part of the marketing department in your company. You said, I'm the only guy, or it's me and my sons, or it's me and 3 other guys, then guess what? You're the marketing department, right? All of the connections that you have, every conversation that you have, you are doing marketing every day, every hour that you're open, period, end of story. You are doing marketing when you feel like it, and you're doing marketing when you don't feel like it. You are doing marketing when you're talking to a bad customer. You know, all of us have had bad customers. They're just hard to get along with. It's like trying to hug a cactus. Who wants to do that, right? And then shake a hand with that cactus. No, thank you. Meet people, they are cold as ice, right? And guess what? In that moment, you're doing marketing. You're having a connection, you're having a conversation with somebody who has either already bought from you, is thinking about buying from you, or somewhere in between. And so you're doing marketing by accident, or you're doing it on purpose. There's no way around that. I always love it when I get brought in for strategic meetings, whether it's organizations that do $20, $30 million a year, they're nonprofits, or they're a business that is for profit and they're trying to get from 5 million to 10 million. There's a whole new set of problems that comes in there, and there's a whole bunch with logistics and layout and connections and all that. And I love when I talk to people and I get brought into strategic meetings and they go, yeah, we don't need to do marketing. You're doing it now. It's happening. You're having conversations with people. You're making touch points. That's happening. Marketing's happening. The question is, are you doing it well? And the question is, are you doing it on purpose? If you're not intentional about it, then understand this: the default of people within your organization probably is not their best. None of us roll out of bed and you know, a choir of angels just sing over top of our head, oh, right? And we float out of bed. And we go over to the sink and everything is wonderful and we walk out, we are just at our best every day. It doesn't happen. You're never accidentally on your best, which means that if you're just doing this stuff kind of from the hip and you're slinging out your marketing or your advertising, then guess what happens? It's not the best. It's not the A game. It's not what you want to present to other people. Here's the thing. Your competition doesn't know that you don't need to market, and they believe that they do. And if your competition is more intentional and they're more strategic, then they will outmaneuver you in the marketplace. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. You go back 25 years in the history of our country, IBM owned 80% of the market. 80% IBM owned. 80%. Billions of dollars. You know what they own now? Way less than half. What happened? Well, they got big enough that they ended up making some mistakes, but at one point, man, IBM was it. You walk through companies and that was just IBM machines everywhere. They eventually got outmaneuvered because they got lax and they thought they didn't need to take marketing seriously. This is not a pitch to sell you anything, because here's the deal. I'm not here to sell you nothing. I want to see you grow your business. That's what I'm after. That's what I got brought in here to do. And so I'm going to talk to you about this, but here's the reality of it, man. You are doing marketing anyway. If it's by accident, it's by default, it isn't your best. And if it's not your best, you're not going to see the ROI that is going to make you want to reinvest into your own business. Period, end of story. It just isn't going to happen. We're going to unpackage some of these details as we move forward, but I want to go to the next slide here real quick. What is the impact of strategic marketing? Well, it's bigger deals and it's higher profits. The key to creating an effective strategic marketing campaign is developing a comprehensive strategic marketing plan that allows everyone in your organization to understand what your marketing goals are and your plan for accomplishing them. This needs to include every touch point of your business from start to finish. No exceptions, none, nada, zip, zilch. Everybody in your organization should know why you are in business. Now, can I tell you something? I've not met too many business owners, and I've met thousands that were not passionate about their business. Have you? Maybe not. Probably not. You want to know why? Because business owners and entrepreneurs are the only people on the face of the planet that will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 for somebody else. Right? We absolutely break our backs, work 80 hours for ourselves rather than working 40 for somebody else. That's us, baby. That's business owners, that's entrepreneurs, and that's awesome. Passion is a great thing. Passion drives us forward. It moves us forward in the marketplace. It helps us stand apart, helps us separate from everybody else. Here's the thing, though. Not everybody in your organization automatically catches that fire. I'll tell you this, there are some things in your business that will have to be caught by your employees. They cannot be taught to your employees. The vision for your business, why you get out of bed, let them see that motivation, because that's the marketing. Guess what? If you're in business, you have a reason to be there. You have a family that you're looking to provide for. You have a community that you're making a difference for. You are making the lives better of the people that you touch. You have a reason that you're in business, but by default, your employees don't know that. And here's the deal. Your employees are touch points for your customers, current and present and potential. And your customers, your customers are interacting with all of your employees, and if they don't have a vision for your company, who is your company? Right? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? What drives you? What sets you apart? If they don't know that, they don't understand how they fit into that. If they don't know how they fit into it, then the marketing is going to be hindered by the very people on your team. They have to understand that. They have to have a vision for it. A great leader is going to be somebody who can cast vision, and marketing starts with who you are. We're going to get to that in just a minute when we get to the 4 principles of strategic marketing. But that needs to include everybody on your team. I cannot emphasize that enough. And the amount of times that I've been called into companies where I've walked out and walked away from deals and walked away from companies because what I got handed was, hey, here's money. That's nice. I like money. As a general rule of thumb, I don't love money. I like what you can do with it. You can invest it wisely. You can make differences in people's lives. Here's money. Josiah, here's money, Crossbridge. Okay, that all I get? Well, yeah, I want you to bring in business. Get out of my office and bring in business. No, take it back. If marketing isn't going to be something that from the top down is a part of who you are, if you're not going to be intentional about it, then marketing isn't going to work for you. I don't care how great the ad looks. I don't care if it's a stellar website. I don't care if it's a tremendous copy. If all marketing is to you is a signed check that you hand to a newspaper guy, an ad agency, a web developer, a graphic design artist, if that's all marketing is, it will fail. You will lose money and you won't scale your business, at least not as quickly as you could. Marketing has to encompass every person in your team. There's 3 basic elements to every business: people, process, product. That's it. It starts with people. You have a product. That process, how you bring, you take your people, create your product or service, and then bring that to the market. Those are the elements of your business. Marketing has to touch all of them. If it doesn't, it will fail. And anybody else who tells you different is out for your money and they're lying to you. Maybe out of ignorance, maybe they mean well, but they don't understand marketing, not reality. Next slide. Where do I start with strategic marketing? You're a business owner or you're a team on a business, right? Where do you start? Marketing today has become very complex between hundreds of advertising channels, intense competition, and audiences who have become numb to advertising along with short attention spans. Can I just be real and transparent, man? I'm just going to get a little bit raw with you. I don't mean to rub anybody the wrong way, but can I tell you, in our society, in America, we have done a great job at raising a generation of idiots. And man, even the average attention span, anybody want to guess what you have time-wise when somebody clicks onto your website, what you have time-wise to grab their attention? Somebody want to give me an idea?
3 or 4 seconds.
What? Who said that? What you got?
3 or 4 seconds.
3 to 4 seconds, that's about it. In certain demographics, it's a little bit higher because the older that you get, the longer you stare at the screen to figure out what you're staring at, right? So it can creep up to 6 or 7 seconds, but on average, less than 4 seconds. That's what you've got. That's it. That's the amount of time you have to hook somebody who could be a customer, nay, an advocate for your business. That's it, 4 seconds. I can barely say, how do you do in 4 seconds, right? Hey, how you doing? I'm Joe. I just ran out of time, right? They don't even know my name in 4 seconds because the attention span is so short. Now you say, well, here's the deal though. Websites aren't all they're cracked up to be, and if you have a website doesn't mean that you make money. I know, because I pay X number of dollars every year to maintain the website, and I don't even know if it's working, right? How about a billboard? Billboards are expensive. Right? Even the ones on podunk roads in the middle of nowhere cost hundreds a month. I don't know what they make them out of. Apparently gold. It's gold-plated 4x4s going into the ground, and that's just what it is, right? Anybody know what you got? Word count-wise. Forget seconds driving by the thing. Somebody tell me the number of words that are going to be effective on a billboard. Anybody? Between 6 and 8 words. That's it. And I just tell you from personal experience, 4 to 5 words. 4 to 5 words. That's what you've got. Because we have a society and we are marketing to a people who are inundated with a whole bunch of advertising, a ton of marketing coming at them from all kinds of angles, and it becomes white noise to the point where we become numb to it as human beings. You just get so accustomed to it that you don't even feel it anymore. Somebody want to tell me how many advertisements you and I come into contact with as average Americans on a daily basis? Anybody at all? Somebody, you guys think it's more than 100 a day? More than 100? More than 500? More than 1,000? It's more than 1,000 a day on average. Between radio ads, television, Facebook, you are anywhere, any place, you will walk down this hall. Before you walk out of the building, you will come into contact with probably more than a dozen advertisements, including for Cincinnati, Ohio itself. I'm coming up the escalator, walking in the place. I wasn't walking, I was standing, because, you know, fitness. And I'm going up the elevator, right? And I'm looking at backwards on the screen. It says, I love Cincinnati. Right? This is right there on the glass coming up the escalator. It's advertising. It's everywhere. You've got the ACE clamp, the innovative roofing solution, wrapped around the beams before you got up here, right? We're inundated with it, man. And who thinks of this stuff? You turn a beam into a piece of advertising. It's everywhere. Here's what that means. Marketing and advertising for the average business owner today has become hard to track in regard to ROI. It's become difficult to figure out whether I'm making money off of what I'm spending. Even if I do buy into the philosophy, you got to spend money to make money. How do I know it's working? I talk to a ton of business owners, and they'll throw out phrases to me like, half my marketing budget isn't working. I just need you to tell me which half. If that's your answer, man, probably 80% of your marketing isn't working for you. And because we're inundated, we have short attention spans, it becomes very difficult for us to make our marketing dollars work. And you know what? It has to be, and we'll get to this in a bit, it has to be concise and short, and it has to do a good job hooking people in. Below that, clear prioritization of targeted industries, regions, and audiences, a definition of both goals and KPIs. These are key performance indicators. That means my sales guys make 30 calls a day. Out of those 30 calls, they land 10 appointments. Out of those 10 appointments, they make 2 sales. So I've got to make 30 calls to get 2 sales. I've got to see what right? These are key performance indicators. Out of 10 people that walk into my showroom, I end up selling 2 of them or 3 of them. So for every 10 person that come in, 10 people that come in, I get to close X. You start defining ROI. You have to watch the key performance indicators. Selection of the right software platforms and tools based on your needs that can work seamlessly together. Okay? 70-year-old or 60-year-old individuals, probably Pinterest or Instagram isn't the platform for you. Okay? Unless it's a grandma, in which case grandmas love Pinterest. Right? Okay? If you're talking about hardworking middle America blue-collar class, print is always going to be a part of it. Doesn't matter how much people scream about digital, printing it's not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, it'll make a comeback. It comes in waves. Right? When the digital revolution hit the scene, everybody started doing email marketing. So I can send out 1,000 and it's so much cheaper. I'm paying less than a penny a piece and blah, 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 blah. And hey, that's great. It's a part of a marketing strategy. But guess what's happened now? You get so much. I pulled out my phone to put it on silent. I got 60 emails in the half hour it took me from the last time I checked my phone. 60. And most of them, junk. Right? So all of that now becomes white noise. Guess what's coming back? Print. And in another 5 years, it'll swing back the other way. Decide what platforms are right for your audience. We'll get to that in a second. And then also planning for resources, timeline, talent to execute across writing, design, programming, data analysis, systems integration, and marketing for the channels that are going to be right for your audience. You have to plan all of those things out. If you don't, it's going to fail. You're going to waste money. Don't waste the money. All right, so let's go to the next slide here. We're going to get into this next part. So here's the meat of what we're going to talk about, the 4 principles of strategic marketing. Let's focus on what matters. And we're going to go through these one by one, and then I'll sit down and shut up unless you guys have questions. Hold your applause. Thank you. I will sit down eventually. All right. Specialization, Number 1, differentiation. Number 2, segmentation. Number 3, concentration. Number 4. These are the 4 principles that if you execute these well, you will scale your business in marketing. Okay? And by the way, it won't take you a ton of money to do it because you'll build a fire and you'll pour gasoline on that fire. Okay? Specialization, differentiation, segmentation, and concentration. Let's look at the first. Specialization. If you want to go to the next one, I'm sorry. That was me clicking. I'm sorry. Specialization. What's your niche, right? This is your corner of the marketplace. This could be a product, a service, or a combination of the two. You must know where your business exists within the marketplace of the area you service. Your product or service is a cog that fits into a larger machine. What is that machine? A business, a home, a family, a life? If you can't define this, you will waste your marketing dollars and you'll waste your effort. And let me break this down with what I mean. You have a product or a service that you bring to market. That product or service is not the entirety of someone's life, which means that what you bring to market is one cog, one gear that fits into a bigger machine. If you don't understand what that machine is, then you can't understand how that cog fits in. And if that's the case, and you don't understand how your business fits into all the other businesses that make up the marketplace, then you're going to waste your dollars because guess what? You don't fit in. You'll get some business, some people are going to come, and some people are going to buy from you. The worst salespeople I've ever met sell stuff sometimes, right? The great ones excel at it. If you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but guess what? I mean, this thing kind of defines itself, right? If I'm a real estate agent, I sell houses to people. How hard's that? Come on, Josiah. Ooh, stretch my brain, right? Well, here's the deal, though. You'll have straight commission real estate agents that'll make $15,000 a year. I don't know about you, but I spend more at McDonald's than that in a year. I want to live off 15 grand. I'm not interested, right? Okay? If that's the case, and guess what? He's as much of a real estate agent. He's licensed. He's got access to the same MLS. He knows what's on the market, and he has access to the same houses in his area. In the same area, you will have real estate agents that do millions of dollars a year in personal income. What's the difference? Oh, his hair was better. Really? Really? If that was the case, barbers would get $150 a haircut, right? Haircut makes the difference. It's not his hair. Well, some people are just better at it. Why are they better at it? I'm just curious. If you have a brain and the other guy has a brain and you've got hands and the other guy has hands and you've got a mouth and he's got a mouth, like what? I'm confused. You know what makes the difference? Just in that segment alone, you just take real estate agents, right? You get a great real estate agent versus somebody who's making $15,000 a year, and they will integrate themselves into the lives of the right people from the time before they can afford to buy a house. You'll have a real estate agent that rubs shoulders with people that can't afford to buy a house. And the guys that are making $15,000 a year will go, what are you wasting your time for on those people? They can't afford a house, they can't afford a mortgage. Well, guess what? In another year, they will be able to. And they know that, and they recognize it, and they endear themselves to him, and guess who they come to when they are in the market for a house? That guy. They understand where their business, where their service fits into the larger picture. If what you do is roll forming, then guess what picture you fit into? Probably a contractor who is going to install that metal. Probably a homeowner or a business owner that has a building that needs either re-roofed or re-sided. New construction. You have to know the landscape of the marketplace if you want to know where your cog fits in. Specialize in an industry. If you are a specialist, it is so much easier to sell your goods and your services. It's just the way that it is. This is where my business fits. I know what I do this well so that the next guy can do his job well, so that the next guy can do his job well, so that so-and-so's house gets a whole lot better off than what it was. New roof, new siding, you fill in the blank. You have to know what your niche is and know the marketplace. All right? I'm burning through my time. Next slide. Specialization. Step number one. Step number two, differentiation. What sets you apart? This is what makes you different. It's what makes your business unique. It makes heads turn and eyebrows raise. It makes your competition nervous. It's differentiation. What sets you apart? You need to be able to quickly and efficiently communicate what makes your business unique. It should not take an essay and an hour of reading to get your customer's attention and to get them to take the next step toward a buying decision. If you can't do this, then you know your product, but you do not know your customer. Quickly, efficiently tell me who you are, what sets you apart. If you can't do that quickly, I mean bullet points, then man, you don't know your business as well as you think you do. You certainly don't know your customer as well as you think you do. I tell you what, driving down here, guess what we got to pass coming out? To pass some Cracker Barrels. And I was sad because I didn't have time to stop. And you know what the billboard said? Old-fashioned homemade cooking like Grandma used to have, and it's super delicious. And we have mashed potatoes, and they're red skin mashed potatoes, and there's little bits of the red skin. They get left by the cooks, and they're kind of mashed up in there, and they look super good. And we can put garlic salt on. You didn't put any. You know what they said on their billboard? Hungry. One word. Hungry. 15 miles later, you know what I saw? Another billboard. Turn left. Yes, ma'am. 2 words. Total 3 words. And you know what they make off of that? Millions. You want to know why? Because they can simply, effectively communicate to their audience and hook them in. And they do that without having to have a whole bunch of words behind it. You have to be able to, great marketing, strategic marketing, you have to be able to differentiate yourself from everybody else in the marketplace that does what you do. Right? And if your answer is the same as everybody else's answer, then you know where they're going to buy. I guess anybody, probably the cheapest, right? Walked into a business not long ago, and they said, we're struggling in our sales. I said, why is that? Start unpackaging some stuff with them. They pull their books out. We're looking through some of the numbers. And I'm looking at them and say, well, what are your sales guys telling you? Well, they're telling us that we're too high priced. Well, who's your ideal customer? Well, people that like our product. Run that by me again there, Nostradamus. Right? People that like your product are your customer. Okay, we got to be able to define, like, put the brakes on. Let's define that. What sets you apart from everybody else? Well, quality and service. Does that mean that everybody else offers no quality and no service? Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Oh, so they do have some quality. Well, yeah, same gauge steel and, oh. And do they not offer service? Like you have 22 colors and they have 1, right? I'm sorry, if you don't want Galvalume, we've got nothing for you, right? Stop. Quality and service, if that's the pitch, basically what you're saying is I can't differentiate my business. If that's the case, then guess what it becomes? A race to the bottom. You know what Chevrolet cars have? Wheels. You know what Mercedes-Benz have? Wheels. They both have wheels. This is why you don't see billion-dollar corporations advertising the fact that their cars come with wheels. Because every one of the cars have wheels. Right? Because all the competition has that. You're not ever going to walk up to a Mercedes dealer and have a sales guy walk out to you and he's going to go, would you like to see some of our fine vehicles? They come with tires and they're round. Right? Doesn't ever happen. They all have doors. Right? They all have an engine, some big, some small. Right? They all got an engine. So they don't differentiate on any of that. You know what does set them apart? The experience that that person has as soon as they enter the business. And the experience that they have doesn't just start as soon as they walk on to the lot. It continues even to after the point where they have signed the paper and driven the car off the lot. And as they drove it off, 2/3 of the value of the car went away. worst investment ever, and they smiled while they did it, right? Because it's about an experience outside of that. What sets you apart from every other business, including your competition? You. What does your competition not have? You. You. Unless you work for your competition, in which case you are your own competition, and that gets weird, right? Your competition doesn't have you. You set yourself apart from everybody else. There's something about you, something that makes you tick, something about your organization that sets you apart. Grab that. And by the way, it is so worth taking 2 hours or 3 weeks and sitting down and beating your head against a brick wall and a blank sheet of paper until you come up with what differentiates you, because as soon as you figure out what makes you different, the dam will break and sales will skyrocket. If you can't differentiate yourself and you cannot bullet point why people should buy from you instead of somebody else, then guess who they're going to buy from? Your competition. I've worked with companies where we've sat down and they've said, we have money to spend on marketing. No, not yet. Don't put money on this thing. Josiah, that's not how this is supposed to work. You're not supposed to stop me from writing checks. I am, because if you write that check right now, I'm going to watch all that money just go completely into a black hole, and you're going to hate me. Let's figure out what makes your business different, what makes it unique. We have to figure out what the differentiator is. You have to know what that is, and you have to be able to tangibly hammer that out and put it down in bullet points. Essence, the essence of what it is. Differentiation, what sets you apart, what makes people look at you and go, you are awesome at that. Figure that out. Figure that out. When you get that, you figure out what my service and what my business is, how does it fit into the big marketplace, and then now I'm going to look at my business within that. I want to figure out what makes me different, what sets me apart, what makes people's heads turn. Now we're getting somewhere. Next slide. Segmentation. Who exactly is your ideal customer? This is drilling down into who the perfect customer is for your business. They're easy to sell to. They understand their need for your product. And by the way, we need to know some more about them. You need to understand who your perfect customer is. Define them without talking about your product or service. And I have had so many people get red in the face and look puzzled at me when I ask them, tell me about who your ideal customer is, don't tell me about your product or service. It's like I just tossed a wrench into the cogs of their brain. Like, the people? Right? Oh, cool, we've narrowed it to the human race. We are making progress. Right? Without talking about your product or service or your business, tell me who your ideal customer is. Tell me as much about them as you can. Tell me where they live, how old they are. Tell me what matters to them. How do they think? Tell me that. What makes them get out of bed in the morning? If you can't define your ideal customer, you will waste marketing dollars on people who do not care. You must know your customer better than you know your products, your services, and your business. You have to know your customers better than you know even your own business. Does that not sound backwards to us as business owners? To know our customers better than we know even our own business? Yeah, you have to. You don't know why? Because they're the ones that make the decision. They're the ones that set your prices. They're the ones that define for you how much of the word of mouth they're going to spread. They're the ones that are important. They're the ones that matter. Your customers, you have to know them. Tell me about them. You take different companies down through just kind of, and I love America just because, man, such amazing entrepreneurs have sprung up over the years and have done extremely well. IBM, I mentioned earlier, that ended up making some mistakes. They did some things right in the beginning. And one of the things that they did right in the beginning was when everything went from paper as far as forms getting written out to moving over to computers, it was a big decision, and they were targeting the presidents and CEOs of the companies. And so they would go in there, and it was a long courtship process, and everything was geared toward that, and the language was higher caliber, and they were using $3 words, right? And so all of that was geared toward the president and CEOs. Eventually what happened is IBM sales went from this to this. They started going back down. What they figured out by learning their customers, and essentially what they did in the beginning was they looked internal. We do that as business people. When things start to fail, we automatically assume there's something about our business we don't know, and we have to figure out the problem because the problem is here with our business, right? And so we look at, oh, I got to cut costs over here, and so, John, he's buying donuts every Friday, and that's insane, right? And do you need to use that many sticky notes? How do you even go through $30 in pens in a month, right? And then we start cutting costs and internalizing everything everywhere we possibly can. Oftentimes, it's not that you don't know your business well enough, it's that you don't know your customer well enough. So IBM stopped looking and that everybody was going to computers now, and so the decision didn't lie with the presidents and the CEOs anymore. It lied with the purchaser, the controller for that company. And so IBM spent more than $100,000 studying purchasers and controllers. How nuts is that? They got down into the nuts and bolts of their life. Where do they go to college? Where do they play golf? Where do they like to hang out on the weekends? What are their favorite magazines? Where do they go on social media? They drilled down into who those people were, what made them tick, into the psychoanalytics of who they were, how they thought, their thought process. And when they retooled their marketing and their advertising, their message, and they started targeting the right people, they skyrocketed again. Because they had to be able to segment their audience well. Who do you sell to? Who is your ideal customer? Is the ideal customer is it the end user? Is it a homeowner in this case? Well, I mean, we'll take homeowners, but our margins aren't nearly as good. Oh, what are you wasting your time there for? Or, yeah, we'll take care of contractors if they come along, but man, we don't have great margins on those. Well, then what are you wasting your time there for? If who you are suits better towards the retailer, then that's where you ought to focus, and that's what we're going to get to in concentration in a second. Focus your efforts there, but tell me and define who your customer is. If you don't know who your customer is, then guess what? You won't hand them the right message. Let me give you a prime example of this. How many of you guys have ever been to a restaurant called Olive Garden? Okay, a couple of us? Okay, all right. How about Cracker Barrel? Anybody ever been there? Okay, all right. Steak and Shake? Come on, all right. We got all of these restaurants have one thing in common. They all serve this so-called food. It is not food in my mind. They call it salad, right? And salad is not food, not in my opinion. It is a promissory note that food will soon arrive. They bring that out first. They bring that out first. Seriously, my brain sees salad and goes, stay here, something good's about to happen, right? You want to get, if you own a Steak and Shake or a Cracker Barrel or an Olive Garden, and you want to get my attention, if you look at me and think, that guy's out for a salad, you are dumb. I don't know, right? Show me some pasta, baby. Give me some bread. Show me some grits, right? Biscuits and gravy, right? I love being down south. Just sop it up. I'm all about it, man. Right? The cat had been, you show me that. Why? Because the marketing message matters for your customer. So if you don't know who your customer is, it is impossible for you to craft a message that gets their attention. If you know who your customer is, then all of a sudden you can make a message, you can craft a message that is going to get their attention. That's where the magic is. Next one, and we're almost done. Promise. Been gabbing for a while. Concentration. Focus the right message on the right people. If you are going to grow revenue and build lasting success, you will have to stop wasting time, money, and effort marketing to people who are not your ideal customer. Focus on the right people with the right message. Once you have defined what your business offers and how it fits into the big picture of society, you can define what sets your business apart from everyone else. Only then can you create a clear and simple message that impacts your ideal customer, and efficiently and affordably you can reach your target audience. And this is how you have success in strategic marketing. That's it. Now here's the deal about this, the concentration. I'm going to say something about this, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you know who your ideal perfect customer is, then you don't waste money shotgun advertising to people who don't care about you. I worked with a business I don't want to name the name, I don't think anybody would know them around here, great people, wonderful people, love the company to death, good people, terrible at marketing, right? They serviced a community that needed vehicles to rent, very specific niche market within the community, and they dumped all of their money into online websites. And I looked at them and I cried a tear for the money that had been wasted. And I said, well, what are you doing? Get in front of the right audience with the right people. And guess what they did? Switched, and they saw a 600% bump in revenue and in profits. You put the right message in front of the right people. This is called targeted strategic marketing. You take your ad dollars and you don't throw them for no reason. If you're putting an ad out, make sure the messaging is on point. Make sure that that ad is going to get in front of the right people. And stop and think about it for a second. Ask questions like, hey, who all does your newspaper go to? Well, our newspaper goes to 66,000 people in this county. Okay, awesome. In that county, how many people would potentially be buyers for me? 10,000. Great. Of that 10,000, what percentage is going to read that particular publication? Well, maybe 1,000. How many ads are in your publication? Well, I guess I don't know that. Well, then I guess you're not a good salesperson. Tell me how many people. Sometimes you got to get real, man. Right? Okay. How many ads are in there? Well, I get, now you come back on the phone, right? An average of 150 ads in each publication. Great. That means that I have 1 in 150 chance of being seen. Will you guarantee me placement? No, sir, we don't do that. Well, sir, then I don't do business with you. I want to get placed strategically within that publication, assuming that the ROI could be high enough. Get targeted. Don't spend money on people that don't care. Get the right message in front of the right people. This is strategic marketing. You will scale your business. Period. You do it right, it'll work. If you do it wrong, you waste money. All right? Now, to the end of that portion, and so they told me I had an hour and 45 minutes. I took an hour. How many guys that felt like way more than an hour? All right, no? All right, either you guys are really tired or super nice, and if you're super nice, thanks. All right, fat people do have feelings. And just a little bit deeper in. All right, on the plus side, we don't wear coats as much because we're a little bit like walruses. We're naturally insulated, you know. So, but we do have feelings, so thank you for being kind about that. At this time, I'm going to take some questions and answers. Here real quick, if you guys want to fire something out at me, whether that's how you advertise, channels of marketing, where good ROI is, how to overcome objections, you hit me, I'll do my best to answer you. Anybody at all?
We recently started utilizing like a constant contact MailChimp type service. And do you have any advice on how to partner that with like what we're doing on social media or any other areas of advertising?
What is the messaging that's going out?
So right now, we're fresh to this, so
okay.
Keep in mind, what I did is I uploaded a list of about 300 emails.
Where did you get those emails?
I also own a roofing company.
Okay.
So I took those emails that I'd collected. And
these were customers?
Customers,
okay.
So I'll just give you a quick explanation. My
sure.
roofing company is a subcontractor roof company. We work for general contractors and other roofing companies installing metal roofs.
Got it.
In the market we're in, here in the Midwest, there's not a whole lot of skilled labor on the metal end of things, so that's where we found our niche.
Got it.
We started producing our own materials for ourselves, realized that we could start a supply house for standing seam metal roofs, and that's what we did. So I have two separate businesses, supply house, metal roofing business. Supply house just uploaded the list that I provided to myself to MailChimp, and I separated them out from contractors and roofing contractors and general contractors, and I sent out separate email blasts to each of them saying, hey, grand opening, we're in business, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. We just started a Facebook page as well, so I'm just trying to see if you have any advice as far as how I could utilize that mailing list, basically.
Got it. So here's a couple of things and quick tips that I'll give you. Okay. One, have consistent messaging across the board. for that 300 people, okay? Now that 300 people you want to saturate 5 to 6 times. Now you don't want to hand them the same message over and over again, right? Hi, my name is, hi, my name is, hi, my name is. People get irritated, right? They're going to shut you off. But you saturate that market. Now what you can actually do is go into Facebook. You said you started using that. You can actually upload that list of email addresses into Facebook, and they will on their end go, okay, these guys have accounts that use these Gmail addresses, or these email addresses are tied to this set of IP addresses, and they'll actually create what's called a custom audience.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'm
So,
halfway familiar with that.
there you go. So check out a custom audience. It's called a custom affinity audience in Facebook, and saturate that. Have the same marketing message go across all of it, and here's what I mean by that. Hit them with different aspects of why they should buy. So those bullet points that set you apart and differentiate you from everybody else who does roll forming and also who installs on the side, maybe that's a benefit, right? Maybe you're like, hey, Mr. General Contractor, love it that you are slammed. I can help you out with quick turnaround times because guess what? I'm brand new. I got metal to sling, baby, right? And so you're like, man, I can supply your metal in a pinch. And by the way, you got a house that just has to get done, and your crews are slammed, guess what we can do? We also have a sister company over here, we're going to step in, right? So you have different aspects. Each of those differentiators become a bullet point. They become a hook that you hit with the same audience from different angles, because one of them will eventually get hooked and drive in.
Exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Perfect. Awesome. Anybody else?
Someone new in the business like this, but where would you rate social media versus billboards versus newspapers? How would you put that in the hierarchy?
Got it. So what I want to know is the critical point for your budget to what you have to spend to make that channel work, right? So if I have to have a $10,000 buy-in to make a billboard work for me in a certain area, and I can't afford $10,000, it doesn't matter if the billboard's the best, I can't afford to make it work. So me taking $1,000 and throwing it at it for a week or 2 weeks or for a month, I'm not going to do it because I can't spend what it takes to make that channel work. So now I come down rank and I analyze all of the other channels that are available to me, and I figure out with my budget what can I spend that's going to reap the best rewards and the best ROI for me. And then your demographic plays a huge key in that too. So know your audience. Do my customers, what age are they? Are they over 50? If they're over 50, they're on Facebook. Right? Everybody thinks, you gotta be 18, 19 to be on Facebook. No. Demographics have completely flipped. You wanna know why? Because the grandparents are on there, they wanna see pictures of their grandbabies. Right? So if that's your demographic, hit Facebook, right? So look at the channel, look at your audience, figure out what those are, and then figure out what you can afford to make work dollar-wise.
Yeah,
Make
I
sense?
think social media, I think, would be the most cost-effective. It doesn't cost anything to advertise on. It'll bring your customer base to you based off of your, I guess, list of friends and stuff.
Sure.
And it will sort of target those people with what you're doing. The worst thing about computers can be the best thing for you, like with Google.
Yeah.
If you go in and search something enough, it'll automatically bring that up to you every time you search something.
If you pay for it, absolutely.
Yeah, if you pay for that, yeah.
That's exactly right, yep. And so to your point, social media can work organically and paid. For those who maybe aren't as familiar, every form of social media is a lot like a river. That's what I compare it to. It's a river, there's a current. Some of the rivers of social media, they flow a little bit slower. Facebook's got a pretty slow current. Here's what I mean by that. When you access social media, you step up to the river, you have a post, and you're dropping it in the river. That post goes downstream to everybody who may or may not be gathered at the river at that point. So you have to catch the people when they're at the river, and you want to make sure that they can see what you posted as it goes by. Which means that you want to hit your social media points and even stagger when they show your ads. You can tell Facebook, only show my ads at X, Y, and Z time, right? And you want to do that because your audience isn't going to be on there probably at 2 in the afternoon. They're up on a roof somewhere, right?
I was going to say,
so,
with the way their algorithms are, if you just let it go free range, it's hard to find a way.
At that point, you are into what we refer to as vanity territory, and that's a dangerous place to be, right? Vanity territory, for those of you who don't know, is a vanity statistic. We showed your ad to 10,000 people. Woo! Well, that doesn't matter if my 10,000 people weren't ideal customers for me. And if I know when my ideal customers are going to be online, I can show my ads or drop my ads in there if I don't want to pay for it at the right times to make sure the most people are gathered there. I have the best chance for success then. So, that answer the question? Perfect. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Yes.
How do you feel about YouTube kickoff ads, like the beginning of a video, pre-roll?
Gotcha. Depends on your audience to a certain degree, and then it also depends on how you tell YouTube to spend your ads. That's going to be huge. It's like I always say that social media channels and every channel of advertising are a little bit like steak, right? I can cook you a steak. Gordon Ramsay can cook you a steak. Right? It depends a lot on how you do what you do with it, right? And so I can make a ton of money with certain clients off of Facebook, and I can get them all kinds of ROI, and then they all of a sudden are like, man, this is working so great, we're going to try it. Love you, Josiah, and but bye. And then 3 months later, like, we have wasted $3,000, right? It's how you do what you do. So with YouTube and stuff, thanks guys.
Hey, thank you very much.
With YouTube, it depends a lot on how you are targeting that. I would highly recommend doing a custom affinity audience with YouTube. You can create one there as well. You can do that through the ads portal, ads.google.com. You can go into there and you can set up affinity audiences with people that you know are going to hit websites that are your ideal customer. Right? So I can say, hey, my competition's websites are these, and I want to show ads to them. You can target them that way. You can also target them during the day, throughout the day, and how that works. And then you can also drill down into their likes and dislikes. So figure out your audience, and if they're on YouTube a lot, then great. But you building that affinity audience is going to tell you whether or not YouTube is going to work for you. If you plug in the websites of your competition and they're like, not enough, then hey, whoa, we got an issue, right? My audience is way too small. On this platform, I'm not going to waste my money there. Track the ROI, right? If you're going to use YouTube and you want to test it out, then allow that link, that call to action button to go to a specific page on your website. Or use a separate phone number. Get a Google number, and it costs you almost nothing to get a Google number. And you can have that forwarded to your business's main line. Set up an ad campaign with a Google number, and then you know when you're getting calls from that number all the time, that ad campaign, it worked. Right? I haven't gotten anything on that in I don't know how long. You go onto your website traffic and you're looking at Google Analytics and you're like, man, that page that's advertised nowhere else but YouTube got 2 views. Great. Who cares if I got 10,000 views? I got no hits, right? So watch what you're doing and how you're doing it, but it can be very effective. You just got to watch what you're doing. When you don't have any data or any statistics, ramp up the amount of spending that you're doing. Don't start out with a works for you. If there's no fire being built at $100, there probably isn't going to be one at 1,000, right? It's not the amount of money that you throw on there. It's about how you build that fire. So, that answers the question? Great. Anybody else? All right. Going once. Going twice.
All right, I got one.
Ah.
So, like in his case, he started out with a 300-person list, right? Let's say you have no list.
Mm-hmm.
Would you try a shotgun type of deal on social media with one landing page?
I would not. I would do a landing page. I would not do a shotgun. Right? Facebook has a pretty robust set of metrics available to you where you can say, I want people that are interested in X or Y. So in this case, I would say, I want to know people that own their own business. They classify themselves as business owners. Right? And then I want people that have liked the Rollforming Show or whatever the massive organizations are out here. Or maybe they've liked Morton Buildings. Right? Because they're a big player in the industry. So I'm gonna go after people that like that. I'm gonna go after if it's the retail end homeowner. I'm gonna go after contractors in his case. So I'm gonna go after punching contractors, and then do it in the service area. You can limit geographically where it goes. I plug in as much data as I have available to me, and then I throw that $100 at it, and I figure out what kind of traffic I can get to that landing page. That make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Anybody else? I thought I saw a hand go up. Yes.
Can you go after the, say, homeowners? Is that something, is that something that they offer?
Absolutely. Yep. Homeowners is a category as well, and then you can also do new homeowners, because people that are on Facebook and they just bought a house, man, they love to brag about it. So new homeowners, they do, man. Selfie, kitchen, selfie. This is my living room, selfie, this is my bathroom, awkward, right? And so they do. They post pictures everywhere. They'll tag themselves, hey, new homeowners. And so you can actually do new homeowners as well. To maybe, maybe you're going through the area and you're like, man, this zip code right here has got a lot of roofs that are just, man, they are rough and they are looking bad, but I know the area has money, then baby, there you go. So I'm plugging in that specific zip code, and I'm going in and I'm marketing to that zip code in that area, or a couple of mile radiuses that are there. Something that a lot of our customers don't know about, our clients that we work with, we partner with, don't know, is they'll say, well, I can't do more or less than a 10-mile radius. Well, you can, but the person count, the head count for that area won't be large enough, but you can plug in multiples of there and then get a whole bunch of those guys lined up. And so you can do that. We've had a ton of success with some contractors and Indian roll formers where we'll watch the weather for them. And we'll go, hey, a windstorm just went through this area right here, ton of damage, ton of hail, baby, right there. And we have an ad set that are ready to go. Our people get alerts. We set up bots to track all of that stuff. We pop up an email and they go, hey, we had storms in these zip codes in this area, and we've got an army of social media ads and YouTube ads and Facebook and all of them, and we blast them out to that area. We just saturate that market. Hey, did you have hail damage? Hey, did you have wind damage? We can help you with insurance claims, and bam, they're in like Flint, right? So you can make all of those things and leverage all of those tools to work to your advantage. So yeah, homeowners is one of them for sure. It was a long way to get where I was going, sorry.
What's your thoughts on targeting like a government office, like property assessors, title clerks, even real estate agents on that side of it? And because they could be your first contact with a new homeowner, a home builder, even a contractor for that matter.
It certainly could be. What you'll find there is that the pass-through is what's hard. The harder the call to action is, right? If it's not as simple as I'm clicking to a page where I can get tracked, or I'm going to pick up a phone and call. If you tag a person, a literal physical person, and try to get them to hand information off, that can be tough. We've had rough success with that. Now it does work in some cases, and if you've got a nice large budget, you can make it work for you, but you do want to be careful about that. I wouldn't put all my eggs into that basket.
No, and I think that'd be more of a personal
exactly.
relationship that you can build, and I think that'd be a big benefit.
Absolutely, yeah, the welcome wagons are great too. So, absolutely. New homeowner comes in, you give them a gift certificate or whatever the case is. Hey, compliments of so-and-so. It's great. Absolutely. Yeah.
What was the phrase you used to make your budget match what you're trying to get out of it? Like your billboard reference.
Gotcha. So the billboard reference that I used was when you hit that critical ratio, when that whatever the dollar amount is that's needed to make that channel work for me.
And
right.
The way you would find that would be through like a KPI?
It would be KPIs, it would be market analysis. Great people to pump for information are the guys that are selling it to you. The key is to sidestep what they're trying to tell you and get them to answer your questions, right? So, hey, who has used this billboard in this case, and what's the average spend on it? If that's such a great billboard, how come you're struggling to move it? Why aren't people like lining up for it? And you make them give you the details and the stats that they have, and you can get some of that information. Also, there are national metrics that are available. You can find a host of websites that do nothing but just log stats, and you can look at what it takes in that area to leverage that. And then some of it is going to be experimental for you. If you've never used a billboard before, it's going to be an experiment. You're going to have to, and that's where I say don't waste your advertising. So put up a custom phone number, put up a custom landing page, send them to a specific site, whatever the case is. Get ROI on whether or not that actually worked for you. And you want to keep those stats. Those stats are gold to you as a business owner. You have to have them. If you don't know what worked for you, you can't, you don't know where the fire is, you're just kind of throwing money everywhere and hoping something catches, right? So don't waste it, make sure that it's there, and then you'll know that. But you can go national average and figure out to a certain extent what works and what doesn't depending on the channel. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right. How many people are still awake? All right. I wish I had a prize to give you, but I don't. All right. I will let you go, though, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for staying.